What's up everybody, J9 Tech Reviews here, and today we're going to be taking a look at a custom water cooling loop. Now originally the system that I was going to build this in was the box computer with a Pentium 4, 2 gigs of RAM, old IDE hard drive, something I didn't really care about. However, I can't monitor the temperature on it in like open hardware monitor, but this computer I was able to do that in, and that's kind of important to this video because we're going to be running Cinebench as is with just the stock heatsink that came with the OEM computer that I found in the garbage. We're going to be comparing its temperatures after Cinebench, and then we're going to swap out the cooling system, make it with this janky little thing, and then run the test again and see if the temperatures went up, if they went down, if they went sideways, I guess. But yeah, we're gonna get right into that. But before that, I just want to thank you for watching and subbing and liking. And if you didn't, you should do it now because that's what cool people do, and it's free, and smart people like free things. All right, let's get right into it. So while we're booting the computer on, how about we take a look at where all these parts came from? If you're familiar with the internet and apps and very cheap products, this all came from AliExpress. This is including pump, tubing, and crappy heatsink thing. Okay, so with all that out of the way, how about we head into a quick little Cinebench test and see just how much the CPU heats up when it's all said and done. Oh, also the system that we're using has 8 gigabytes of RAM, and it has a AMD Phenom 9550. Which is actually a pretty capable processor in 2020, meaning that it can like run Windows at like decent performance. But as you can see right now, the CPU is at about 34 to 36 degrees Celsius, 35 right now, 36. It's fluctuating a little bit. So we're gonna be taking note of the temperatures after we run Cinebench. So let's get right into it, and I'll show you how it goes. All right, straight off the bat, and we are already, and we're like 4 seconds into the test maybe. We're already like raised by 8 degrees Celsius, which is like a lot for that short amount of time, and it's still rising, which isn't good. Okay, so that's that. Within 4 minutes, the AMD Phenom 9550 completed Cinebench, and its temperature is 50 degrees Celsius. So let's see how that affects the Cinebench score, let's see how it affects the temperatures, and let's begin installing this quite janky water cooling system that might break the motherboard if I'm not, it might just break the computer if I'm not careful. So let's power it on the computer and get right into it. The whole thing's kind of warm right now. We're gonna let it cool off and then we'll get right into it. But for now, there is something I need to do. I need to get fans. Now, if you can piece together what's going to happen, this is gonna pump the water, it's gonna suck it out of the heatsink and pour it into here. This is just a big metal container, but we need fans like a normal CPU cooling system does. We need fans, and I have just the thing I think we're gonna need to make this whole thing cool off well. So while this is cooling down, let's go get the rest of the fans. Now, I made this fan setup like maybe 2 years ago about, right there. There's only one screw holding it into place. So I'm just gonna kind of unscrew this, and then we're gonna use it in the water cooling system downstairs. So we got all the parts we need now. We got the fans, we got the reservoir, we got the tubing, we got everything we need. I'm gonna take a few measurements, and then we're gonna be cutting up the tubing, sticking it all together, and hopefully this won't flood the system. So the first thing we need to do when getting all this set up is removing the CPU cooler so we can install our new one. Now, I did some basic testing on this to ensure that it wouldn't leak, and long story short, this actually doesn't leak. I don't really know how it doesn't leak. It's at a god-awful angle, but hopefully it doesn't kill the system. There we go. It's like about the same size, give or take. Okay, this should actually work. So let's take some measurements with the tubing now. Okay, and that's that. We should be good now. I really hope that this works. Hey, oh, you hear that? That's a motor, and it's pretty loud, but that means it works. So let's get it all hooked up into the system now. Okay, so that's that. Let me give you a quick little tour. So the water is going to be sucked in through the bottom of this, go into the crappy heatsink that's also sideways with like used thermal paste on it, whatever, it's good enough. Go up through here, be sucked, getting blown out here. Hopefully it doesn't overshoot. It'll probably be fine. And this is just gonna kind of be resting here. So let's just make sure that it works. Okay, I got the whole water cooling system all hooked up. We got the pump, we got the power, we got the water. Hopefully this actually pumps water. I found this motor. Now, I don't know what I'm gonna title the video anymore, because originally I was gonna title it like budget $12 water cooling loop, and now I have this industrial grade motor in like the corner of my garage that we're going to be using for this computer with dry ass thermal paste. Like the last clip you saw out of this video was like sometime last week. I literally do not remember it all. Okay, this is the new motor we're using. with the same tubing. And I don't know if you noticed this, but the tubing is a little bit different. I'm gonna put like 100,000 rolls of duct tape on this to try to make it somewhat waterproof. Just to give you a little preview of how strong it's gonna be, I'm gonna plug it into the wall for a moment. This is louder than the fucking computer fans. This is gonna be some really, really sketchy water cooling, but it's gonna move a lot of water. So I figured out how I'm gonna do it. This is gonna be connected to the pump, which is gonna be connected to right here, which is gonna suck the water out of the reservoir. And because we're low on tubing, we're gonna have like a little waterfall thing going on. We're just this is all the tubing we have left. So it's just gonna kind of shoot out the other side like a waterfall into the water reservoir, which is a metal trash can. So that should work out because we got large diameter on the top. So this is fine as is, but I need to fix this to the inlet and this to the outlet. God, this is... What am I doing with my life? I've now realized that I've fixed this to the wrong side, but I fixed it pretty well, so at least I know what I'm doing, kind of. So what's gonna happen is this motor is gonna be right here, kind of. This is gonna be like spraying out of the top into the reservoir. This is gonna be mounted from here into the heatsink, and this is gonna... So the next step is we're gonna want to make sure that this is waterproof. So we got the trusty water reservoir, also known as a garbage can that's aluminum that we bought but never used. That's gonna be the receiving part. So right now, what you see is we're gonna test to make sure that these seals don't leak, because it's just duct tape in tubing that is much too small for this water pump. So we got kinked tubing inside of this water bottle, going in here, coming out there, shooting into this garbage can. We're gonna suck all the water out of this water bottle like instantly. Like this is gonna... All right, 3, 2, 1, mother... Alright, so we're back now, and the last clip you saw was a few days ago, where I had one of these pumps, and I swapped it out for the other pump that died, but that pump didn't work, so we had to get another pump. And originally I was gonna have this white pump that's like old and crappy, but it has a lot of power. I was originally gonna place it in here, so I made a little hole for it to go through, but the pump started leaking a bit, so we had to improvise, and I ended up just kind of screwing the pump to the bottom of the case and then drilling a hole in the side for the tubing to come out of. Now, the heatsink isn't exactly on perfectly, and I'm gonna have to use some new thermal paste to get it on correctly, but as of right now, this is watertight and should be safe for the computer. And I just want to quickly go over the setup with you before we turn this on. Now, this is a heatsink I got for like $4 off of AliExpress. The tubing was like a meter I bought for like the same dollars off of AliExpress. And the pump I bought for like $5. However, I killed the pump because I'm a genius, so that's in the garbage. And we found this pump in the garage. These fans I had left over from my old room setup, and I'm just using that to cool off the reservoir, which is an old aluminum garbage can we got. And to support the reservoir, we have it on top of a motherboard box, 2080 box, and an old patient pad. So I'm just gonna kind of lay this on top, and it's gonna blow air into here so no water like splashes up, because this is a very powerful pump and it is very overkill. I had to go out and buy some adapters from Home Depot for like $15, which costs money, and you should subscribe because I don't make money off this channel and I'm trying to get monetized. Let's go. So the last step of what to do is just put thermal paste onto this and then put the heatsink on, and then weight it down with the broken hard drive, because I don't know if you see this heatsink, but there's no like securing screws or anything, and I really don't want this computer to die. Guys, if there's one thing I've learned about this entire experience, is that first thing I learned is don't buy a fucking camera stand off of AliExpress. Second thing I learned is don't do what I'm doing, because this is not safe for the computer at all. Oh my god, is it actually stuck? It's working. Okay, I need to get some sort of way to weight this down. I found some dead little hard drive. This should be enough weight to hold it. All right, it's a few days later now, and since then I changed up how the system is a bit. For one, I adjusted the tubing, and I removed the GPU, and now I'm gonna put in some towels just in case it leaks. I don't want it getting all over the motherboard, and that would suck. So let's go put them in. Alright, I also wrapped a bit more towel around the connections, tried to unkink the tubing a bit, but no, we're gonna go fill the reservoir again, because it's a few days later since the last clip you saw, and then we're gonna turn on the system. So we got the water system all hooked up. It's gonna pump water out from here, through the water block, out the pump, and then just kind of spray it back into the reservoir. I also got rid of the dedicated graphics card, so we're gonna be running off of integrated. Then we're gonna put on the 2 hard drives just to weight it down a bit. Hopefully this actually does something, makes the contact between the CPU and the heatsink a bit better. Then we'll plug in the computer like so. Then I'm gonna put the hard drive back in because apparently I removed that a while back. And with this all hooked up, last thing we gotta do is just put in the fans. So you just kind of, there we go, we put in the fans. Hey, let's just turn the computer on. Oh my god, it booted. CPU fan has failed, you fucking dick! Okay, so I got the CPU fan hooked up, not even blowing on anything. It's just kind of there just to make the computer think that it's running how it should be with a CPU fan instead of a weird water cooling setup. But now we should be able to turn the system on. Okay, fan's turning on. No water leaks so far. Water's being pumped. The pump is loud as hell. And the computer's turning on. Okay, I didn't kill it yet, which is just great. Okay, it seems to be starting up normally now, which is good. I'm gonna plug the fans in to cool off the water. Actually, is the water even hot yet? Oh, the water's warm. What the fuck? That warmed up quick. Oh god, we need to cool the water. Oh jeez. Okay, the water's being cooled to the best of my abilities. How'd the water already warm up? This system's been running for like 20 seconds. Okay, at least we know that the heatsink is like running well and like making the heat dissipate through the water. Okay, are we leaking water yet? Oh my god, we're not. How is this bent cooler? Knock on wood. Okay, the computer's ready. The computer's ready. I'm gonna put the code in. Oh my god, load faster. Okay, all I need to do is just launch Cinebench, and then we're done. Okay, as of right now, oh my god, look at that. Our CPU is running at 22 degrees Celsius. Oh my god, that is so cold. As of right now, our CPU is running at 19 degrees Celsius. That is crazy. It peaked at 22 degrees. Okay, I just started the Cinebench for the CPU. We got 4 cores and 4 threads running at 2.1 gigahertz. Let's see how our computer heats up and what score we get, and then compare that to the original one, because I don't remember what the original one was. I like recorded that bit literally 2 weeks ago. Okay, this is important. We have actually sprung a leak down here. We need to get more towels. Cinebench is still running, so we need to fix this mess before we destroy the RTX box. Okay, whatever, good enough, temporary solution. In terms of the temperatures, currently we are at 27 degrees at our maximum peak. That is like so cold compared to what this computer was like originally running at. Okay, Cinebench just finished and we got a score of 205 CB. Wow, okay. I don't know how good that is compared to the original one, but I'll be sure to go check it out. After the test finished, we are cooling the CPU down to a good 20 degrees Celsius, 19 degrees. It is dropping, minimum 18. Okay, it should stabilize somewhere about here. But I think for now, I'm gonna go shut the computer down. So overall, would I recommend doing this? No, don't do this. I don't know if you like heard like the video, but this pump is so loud and the fans were also very loud. You can barely hear the fans over the sound of the pump, and the fans are 6 fans strapped together, plugged into the wall. See how the heatsink is? We seem to be all good. I don't know how I'm gonna get the remaining water out of the system because I do know. I just have to remove that. Anyway, I know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. Don't like do this to your computer. Additionally, a few things surprised me about this actually. I was expecting the AliExpress heatsink to like not conduct heat as well as it did. But evidently it did. We got the CPU down to 22 degrees Celsius and the water heated up actually quicker than I expected. I thought it'd be a while because that's like quite a bit of water in there. Also, it's tap water, not like distilled water. So long-term use could be damaging to the system, but this is a one-off thing. I'm not gonna run this computer with that setup. However, if you got this far in the video, that means you obviously enjoyed it, or at least I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, subscribe. If you didn't, subscribe, or leave a like or comment, or do whatever. You should do that, because I put a lot of work in this video. So yeah, don't do what I did. It's not worth your time, it's not worth your money, and it's very loud, and it's also kind of messy. Like, the dog was drinking out of the reservoir a few days ago, so I had to empty it out. And stagnant tap water that's been ran through this, they shouldn't be drinking that. But anyway, goodbye, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.